back to another episode of The Chicana Therapist. I'm your host, Dr. Xochitl Alamillo, and today we're going to be talking about body image. This is probably one of the hardest episodes that I've outlined, not because it's a difficult subject for me personally. I'm very open about my body image journey to whoever is willing to listen, but because there's so much to say and a lot of nuances, and I try to keep the episodes to half an hour, 45 minutes or so, and I could seriously teach an entire class on body image and society and our Latinx culture regarding body image and all of the things. So it was difficult. So just know that there is so much more that I won't be able to cover in this one episode, but I hope that those of you that are listening can take something away from it, can relate, can feel like they have some actionable things that they can take away from the episode. So let's go ahead and get started. So to begin, when I say body image, what I mean is your perception of your own body and what contributes to it. And I know that you hear a lot of talk on social media that, there's always a tia or someone who is going to comment on your body when you go to a family gathering. People are very quick in our community to feel a right to comment on other people's bodies without consent or without even just thinking about how that might land. And when I talk about commenting on your body, I don't just mean comments that you perceive to be negative. I mean any comments. Yes, estás subiendo de peso and estás bajando de peso, but also te ves muy flaquita, or just body commenting in general. And I think that's something that people don't pick up on a lot, is that not just the ones we perceive to be negative are the ones that can create a problem, but all of them, even the ones that you perceive to be positive, because in praising something, you are implying that there is another side to it that doesn't deserve praise. So when you say, oh, congratulations, it looks like you're losing weight, the implication is that they're not to be congratulated unless they're losing weight, or that there was an expectation that they not be in a larger body. There's also the way that we talk to ourselves about our bodies, externally and internally. How many of us look in the mirror and always have something to say about our bodies? So in examining body image, yes, culture comes in, absolutely, but also self-talk comes in when it comes to how you view your own body. Let's start with talking about family and loved ones who think it's okay to make comments on your body. Usually when I hear about it, it's coming from like an elder, like a tia, an abuelita, a mom, and that can be really confusing because these are the folks that are supposed to love you the most, right? And I'm sure that they do, but they're saying things that are very hurtful. So when they make a comment and it stings, you feel some type of way about it. Like, why are the people that are in my circle being this hurtful? Then you feel guilt for even thinking about it. Like, I already know así son. I hear that a lot. Así son. That's just the way that we are as a family. That's just the way that my mom is. And we try to dismiss our own feelings around it, and that can also kind of spiral into something bigger. And the motives for things, I will accept that sometimes it is innocent. Some people really believe that they're complimenting you when they say that you look like you've lost weight, for example. Even if you haven't, which is confusing, right? Because then what are they saying? But in their mind, that is a gift. They're noticing you, they want to show pride in you, and sometimes it can be innocent in their eyes because maybe they're concerned about your health, and so they make comments about your body regarding how, you're gaining weight or you look bigger, and maybe to them that is a sign of poor health or like something's going on. And so sometimes, yes, these comments can come from a place of care, but intent is not the same as impact, right? They can have the best of intentions when talking about your body, perceived negative or positive, and the impact is not good. So I want to clarify that even when people come at you with great intent, it doesn't mean that it shouldn't hurt your feelings or that you should dismiss it or minimize it. And let's be real, sometimes it isn't innocent. Some people really are doing it in a passive aggressive way. They want to either put you in your place or they want to mention something like criticism. I don't know. Que sé yo. People do things for lots of reasons. I'm not saying that's okay, but I just want to acknowledge that. Some people do it to be rude. Some people do it because they know it's a dig and they want to hurt you. And unfortunately, they often succeed. All of these things can land in a place that makes you rethink a lot of things, that impacts your self-esteem and stays there, and that can affect how you talk about your own body to yourself. I also want to acknowledge that when we're talking about body commentary, right now I'm talking about specifically size or proportion of your body. I realize that as a community we have a lot to acknowledge about colorism and then things like that. But for now, I want to focus on body size and proportion. So people are making comments about your body. Sometimes they do it in front of people. Sometimes they take you to the side to tell you. Sometimes it's the first thing they tell you when they see you. Sometimes they sneak it in a conversation. That happens a lot. And then there's a very, in my opinion, controversial topic that is that we often, as a culture, as a community, assign nicknames based on body size. So we're very casual about calling someone gordita or gorda or flaca or flaquita. I am not here to tell anybody that that is wrong, that you should stop it. I just want to point out that even in that very subtle way, even in a way that comes across or they want to come across as cariño, as care, even that is really a comment on your body. And, you know, people can have no problem with it. They can enjoy that people in their family call them that, or maybe they're just used to it. Of course, there's a problem when the person does not like being called that. But I just want to point out, we do that. We do that. It's so casual. And I think that that's part of why sometimes in our families we feel this permission to comment on people's bodies. And so what happens when all of these things happen within our family system? People readily comment on other people's bodies. They provide nicknames based on your body. And usually those comments send messages to us. And a lot of times, especially when we're the target of those comments, these messages can become voices in our own head. And I don't know that a lot of us are actually aware of our own self-talk, the self-talk that shows up as you're getting dressed, as you see yourself in the mirror, when you look at photos of yourself. I would love for you to take a minute and think about, okay, what is coming up for me? What are the thoughts that are coming into my head as this happens? And sometimes it's our own critique based on how we were raised, but sometimes it's somebody else's voice. Sometimes it's your mom's voice. Sometimes it's your tia's voice, or some comment that someone made that plays on loop until you feel like that's your commentary. And as a therapist, I sometimes encourage my clients to trace that inner critic back to its source, and it usually lands on someone. Usually a parent, maybe a sibling, or sometimes even stranger comments. And we're going to talk more about that too, about how we absorb a lot of the message that we get, yes, from the media, but I would say mostly from our own families. This negative self-talk is rarely something that people come up with on their own. Usually it's handed to them and it's been snuck in to your self-esteem. When talking about body image, yes, it's important that we find out where the messages we have about bodies are coming from. But I think that it's also necessary to admit the ways that we also contribute. And you might have made a comment. I know I have. I'm not perfect. I know I've made a comment to family members about their bodies, mostly like, oh, you've lost weight, you look great, things like that that I thought were a compliment and that the person would want to hear. So yes, you might have participated in things like that, or even participated in things like telling people, oh, you seem to be gaining weight, that kind of thing. But how many of us pay attention to commentary we have about other people? For example, a celebrity. Have you paid attention to how you might in your head judge a celebrity or even a stranger at the store, a co-worker, maybe that you notice their body and you have some sort of judgment around it? Or like I said, complimenting someone on their weight loss, implying that their body was a problem to be solved and now they've solved it. So sometimes we don't really register these as comments, right? Because they're observations, or even sometimes we mask them as concerns. Like, I wonder if this celebrity is okay because she just lost a lot of weight and that's not healthy. So sometimes judgment gets wrapped in a language of care, so it slides past us, and it functions the same whether we're receiving or giving it. Moralizing anyone's body reinforces that rule that bodies are public property and they're up for evaluation. And I'm not saying this for people to feel guilty. It's just about noticing, because if we want this to stop with us, we have to catch what we're still doing too. Are we only following people with straight or slim bodies in our social media, for example? Are we only following people who are conventionally beautiful in the way that we've been taught is considered beauty? That's also a way that we contribute to our own self. And because I'm a mother and I also have worked with youth in the past who have had struggles with their body image, I do want to mention that kids listen to everything we say around them, to them, but also what we don't say. So a kid doesn't need to be told that it's okay to judge people's bodies. It's okay to make a comment about people's bodies. All they need to do is watch a parent look at themselves in the mirror. So if you look at yourself in the mirror, or even if you're talking to your partner and you say, I don't like how this looks on me, I look fat, for example, or maybe you make a comment about a celebrity, or they hear you talking to your friends about each other's bodies, even if you do it with compassion, even if you do it from a place of good intent, kids are picking up on that. So you don't just want to be careful about what you say directly to your kids or to the youth in your life, but you also want to strive to model being respectful to others by not commenting on their body when it's not solicited or necessary. And I do think we need to tell kids outright, we don't make comments about people's bodies. And we're going to talk more about things that you can talk to them about and to yourself that is much less judgmental and that will help them and help you have a better relationship with your body. And this is one of the things that we don't want to do. A lot of us are trying to break generational cycles, and this is one cycle that we're capable of passing on without meaning to, because we're not even aware that we're doing it ourselves. And I know I said I want to focus on body image, size, and proportion, but I do want to bring in the talk around food because I think it's worth naming even briefly. This idea of labeling food, especially around yourself, but also around kids, like good food or healthy food, bad food, and not healthy food, is moralizing food. And that can also mess with someone's perception of what they put in their body and what their body looks like. So around your kids, are you saying, I was good today, I only ate healthy? So again, sometimes we're judging the things on the plate the way that we would judge the way that a body looks. Which brings me to my next topic that I want to bring up. I want to propose an alternative. This is not new by any means, but it is something that I learned in my journey around appreciating my own body and getting rid of negative self-talk, and that is body neutrality. Comments on bodies or even comments on food are judgments that we put on them. Whether good judgment or bad judgment, it's still judgment. And so even the word or the term body positivity can be misleading, because that's still sending a message that you should feel positively about your body. And while I love that message, I didn't find it helpful for me personally, because I felt like if I didn't feel positively about my body, at least in the way that it looked, that I was somehow failing at it. And so when I heard of this term, body neutrality, it really resonated with me, because it doesn't ask you to love your body or hate your body. It just asks you to stop putting it on trial constantly. Your body is not good or bad. It's not an achievement or a failure. It's just the thing you live in. It's the thing that hugs your loved ones. It's the thing that makes sure that you get around. It's the thing that laughs with your friends. It's the thing that cooks for your loved ones. Whatever it is that your body is able to do, that's what it is. That applies to food too. Food is not good or bad. It's just food. Rice is rice. Pan is pan. It's not a moral event. We can talk more about food that may be more nutritious or more full of a certain nutrient that you're looking for, but it's not good or bad inherently. And I also love that trying to practice body neutrality is practical. It doesn't feel dishonest, because I felt like saying I love body positivity, it felt dishonest because I didn't feel that way all of the time. And with body neutrality, you don't need to feel amazing about your body. It just means that you don't comment on it. And I know that this is a lot deeper than I'm making it seem. I'm oversimplifying it, but I just wanted to present this as an option. It also didn't feel like I had to speak up and say, from now on, I am feeling great about my body or anything like that. When somebody makes a comment about my body, I will say something like, I really don't think about my body like that. Or I have heard people say, oh, you've lost weight. And I'll say something like, yeah, my body's shrunk a little bit. Or, oh, you've noticed my body shrinking. I don't have to make it a big thing. I don't have to announce it to anyone. I try not to refer to food as, oh, I'm being bad today. But instead, I'm choosing to have fun because I felt like it. And that's okay. So I love that with body neutrality, it doesn't require you to feel a certain way first. It really just encourages you to change your language and your thoughts around bodies. And then the feelings kind of tend to follow. And I can say that that has been true for me. I've also made a very intentional move to follow people on social media that are practical about their bodies. I'm not a fashionista by any means, but I enjoy watching people dress their bodies for every size and every proportion. I don't tend to watch people who talk negatively about their own body, or who talk about their body in a very judgmental way, or that feel that certain things only look good on certain body types. So I've been very intentional about making sure my feed isn't showing me things that are only going to make me feel like something's wrong with my body. I just try to follow things that are designed to just help you accept your body, maybe dress it the way that you like to dress it without thinking about whether this looks good on this body type, that kind of thing. So ultimately, this episode, yes, it's about body image, but I think that I lean more towards it being about language and checking ourselves and the language we use around our body, and checking how we allow other people to talk about not just their bodies but our own bodies, and also to think that we're always teaching the language that we use, whether we mean to or not. So I invite you to observe what commentary you have in your head when looking at other people's body or your own body. And if you do catch yourself having a judgmental thought, I would like for you to reflect on where that is coming from. Where did you learn those things about bodies? That's all I'm asking and encouraging. Just start noticing the moments where you are having thoughts about other people and maybe comparing them to yourself, that type of thing. That's all I'm asking. Thanks again for joining me on this episode. As a reminder, if you're interested in keeping up with episodes and with other events that I host, including retreats, workshops, mini retreats, and trainings, please join my newsletter. You can go to my website at thechicanatherapist.com. And there should be a place for you to enter your email address, and then you'll receive that information. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook if you want to follow me in those places. And as always, thank you so much. Cuídense mucho. Thank you for listening. This podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing shared in this podcast constitutes therapy, clinical advice, or a therapeutic relationship. Listening to this podcast does not establish a provider-client relationship, and if you're experiencing a mental health crisis or in need of clinical support, please contact a licensed mental health professional or call or text 988 Crisis Hotline.